Okay, good evening, everybody. Today we are going to talk about the depth of Sikkha Dhamma. And before we begin the class, as always, we need to mention about the important note that Dhamma provided in this presentation is simple and not gambhira or profound. People must continuously study Dhamma or else it will lead to Mahatapa, Nirya or hell, because it is Miccha Titti or not following the Buddha's teaching. If any provided content contrast with Dhamma 84,000 Dhammakantaka, please refer to Dhamma 84,000 Dhammakantaka only. Okay. What day is today? Today is Sikkha Pakatsa. Today is 14 Sikkha Pakatsa. Asalaha Masasa Maha Buddha Shayanti 2612 or July 1st, Buddhist era 2566. Before Anuttara Samma Sampodhi enters Parinibbana, Anuttara Samma Sampodhi mentioned that Yobo Ananta Maya Dhammo Ja Vinayo Ja Tesito Panyatto Sovo Mama Jayena Sattha translate into English that Ananta Dhamma and Vinaya will be your teacher when Anuttara Samma Sampodhi enters Parinibbana.
Okay, we pay respect to our Paramatha Anuttara Samma Sampodhi. We sati Arya Makha. We sati Samanya Para. Eka Nibbana Kitta Pinya โดยเฉียบพลันในประวัติการนี้เถิดสาธุสาธุสาธุ
นาวุติอุปาณิธิ
พันธะอนุโมทามิ
The responsibility of the four Putta Parisa consisting of three main responsibilities. The first one is the four Putta Parisa must well understand the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the second one is the four Putta Parisa must be able to correctly present 84,000 Dhammakantaka. And the third one is the four Putta Parisa must be able to correct those who condemn or misunderstand the Tipitaka 84,000 Dhammakantaka.
So we pay respect to ท่านติปิตกะธรรมจริยสุชาตินาคอ่อน and ท่านอังคคุณะอริยธรรมโสตาปันนะ who is the beginner of our teaching and lead us to have many vatta and vivatta all over the world. วิสติอริยมรรควิสติสามัญญภาระเอกนิพพานะขิตตาพิญญาโดยเฉียบพลันในประวัติการนี้เถิดสาธุสาธุสาธุนาวุติอุปาณิธิพันธะอนุโมทามิ
As we mentioned in the beginning of the class, that today we are going to talk about the depth of Sikkha Dhamma. So before going into details, we need to be able to identify that how many types of human being are there, because we see people every day, and people who Sikkha Dhamma and people who do not Sikkha Dhamma, they will have a different point of view and different behavior in the society and their daily activities. That's why we are going to mention about it today. Okay. According to the teaching of Gautama Buddha, Manusa is divided into four types. They are Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano, and Manusa Tevo. The first three types of Manusa, which are Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano, they are under influence of Sanya 3. We call it Manusa, we call it Kama Sanya, Kojara Sanya, and Morana Sanya. According to these three Sanya, it will lead to the feelings that occur in everyday, in our daily activities, such as happy, indifferent, sad, dissatisfied, angry, hate, envy, etc. With endless cycle of this kind of activities, these feelings. And these feelings are caused by Akusala Citta 12. We know that these kind of feelings created by Akusala Citta 12 because we can recite Citta 121. Otherwise, you don't know that there are Akusala Citta 12, and under Akusala Citta 12, there are 3 groups. The first one is Loka Mula Citta 8, the second one is Tosa Mula Citta 2, and the third one is Moha Mula Citta 2. Without being able to recite Citta, you don't know this. And if we don't follow the teaching of Gautamaputra, and we don't know what Citta are either. Okay, and for Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Tevo, the fourth type of Manusa. These Manusa have special sanya, which called Dhamma sanya. Apart from Kama sanya, Gochara sanya, Marana sanya, which are normal for Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachanu. During our daily activities, we are these 3 manusa. We are manusa nirayo, manusa peto, manusa tirachano. However, we can transform ourselves from these 3 of manusa into the 4th type of manusa, which is manusa tevo by Sikkha Dhamma. We in a day we have 24 hours, so we can spend. It depends on our time, our schedule. We can find some time to spend Sikkha Dhamma, and then at that time we can become Manusa Tevo. Manusa Tevo can escape from the influence of Kusala Citta 12. That's for easy understanding. And the feelings that occur with Manusa Tevo will be happy, only happy. Okay, and next one.
Pikan.
Yes.
Pikan, you mean that if I Sikkha Dhamma, but I have always have this satisfaction for everything. I angry all the time, and I hate everything in the world. But I Sikkha, so it's I still Manusa Tevo or not?
Yes, you are Manusa Tevo, but only when you Sikkha Dhamma. So you can transform back and forth. You can become a Manusa Tevo when you do Sikkha Dhamma. When you finish Sikkha Dhamma in the day, then you go back to become Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano. However, become Manusa Tevo even in a short period of time, better than none. So the more of Dhamma you have, the more power you can spend time Sikkha Dhamma.
Sometimes I don't have any time to Sikkha Dhamma, but I try to work hard with Dhamma work, such as I go to the temple and I sweep the floor, I clean up the floor, and I pray with Aye or I pray with Pante. Is that classified as Sikkha Dhamma or not?
Yes, if you can spend time doing those things, that would be good for you. However, it will be better if you can recite Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. At least if you can recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, the things that you always taking care of, Aye, Pante, and Vatta or Vivatta, that things will have more kusala return to you. The difference is if you cannot recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, you still those activities still be good one. However, it will be better if you can recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, and you can do the same activities, but the kusala that happens to you is much more than your normal activities without be able to recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa.
You mean that if we have Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa in our Chavana Citta, we will have about the chart, the map that you when other things go inside our emotion, we will get this is akusala citta working, and this is akusala cetasika, and then this is Mahakusala Chitta. This is Sappha Chitta Satharana Cetasika or something like that. So it will separate everything in the world that interact with your emotion. So that time you will get kusala. Is this more better than not reciting? Is that right?
สาธุครับพี่ปิง that is the
Okay.
correct one and that is what much more details than that is very detailed for the beginners that is the very good recommendations for the beginners for you who cannot who are not who cannot recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa at this time, I will simplify the answer of Piping's answer for you that the kusala that you gain for your activities will depends on yourself and the one that you interact with. So you don't know how many dhamma or no dhamma knowledge of the person who you interact with. So the better, so that's why you need to have kusala in yourself or the teaching of Gautama Buddha. The more you have, the more kusala you will gain from your activities that when you interact with others. That's for easy understanding for the beginners. However, Piping's answer, that one it's in details about why you gain more kusala when you know Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa when you interact with others. สาธุครับพี่ปิง so the next one that is why people have should set that goal to transform from manusa nirayo manusa peto manusa tirachano into manusa tevo in 24 hours in a day. It would be better if you can find time to Sikkha Dhamma within the day. Even it is 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's fine. But and however, we recommend that even if you have that limited time, we recommend you to start from recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, which is very essential part to understand or Sikkha Dhamma. And then you can when you Sikkha Dhamma, the more Dhamma you have, the more power you have, and then you'll be able to find more time to Sikkha Dhamma. That's will improve gradually, a bit by bit.
Okay.
So we mentioned about the steps to Sikkha Dhamma, many classes. So today we remind you that steps to Sikkha Dhamma, as now we know that within our society, we see a lot of people. Those people or manusa divided into 4 groups: manusa nirayo, manusa peto, manusa tirachano, and special one, which is manusa tevo. The first 3 type of manusa that you can spend your daily activities as normal people. However, to become manusa tevo, then you need to find the correct teaching of Gautama Buddha or Paramattha Dhamma. In that case, to start Sikkha Dhamma, you must following the very essential 2 steps. The first one is, as we mentioned at the beginning of the class, that you need to be able to recite Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. And the second step, which is also as important as the first one, which is you need to be able to identify the communication language and Dhamma language, which quite identical in our society. Normally, we use our language as communication language. However, within that communication language resides Dhamma language in that one. And how to enter Dhamma language from our communication language, we will also mention in this class. Next slide.
Pikan, why your group or my group? Why our group want everyone who's Sikkha to recite? Why other group only close your eye and meditation? It is very, very beautiful one. It can relax and it can not take any efforts. I think is this better to meditation or not?
Okay, that's good question, Piping. For example, like if we comparing Sikkha Dhamma as we study some subjects in our education system. For example, if you study math, for example, like math, you cannot close a book and close your eyes and sit still, and then you will know what inside that math book, or you cannot solve a math problem with that kind of activities, which when you're not reading the math book, and you're not even practice the problem, the math problem, and then you expect that you'll graduate in math
Yes.
in that case you cannot graduate at all. So that is
I think
one of the easy
I
example.
can think that math, and I will graduate. I think that.
Well, if you close your eyes, you think about math, then you cannot even plus, minus, multiply, divided, things like that. You don't know what will happen. What are they, right? But you know that you can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can divide it, because you you study, right? You read the books, you practice math problem, then you can answer those questions. You can do the test, otherwise you cannot do, right? That's for an example. That's why we need to sikkaya, or listen to what Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi.
So our Anuttara Samma Samproti did not enlightenment easier, because for us we can graduate for the master degree, for bachelor degree, and for doctor. But how can we find the one that graduate and become arahanta? So it is very, very difficult. So don't try to close your eye and think that you will graduate as arahanta. Yes.
Sadhu Kapi Ping.
Sadhu
That's
ka.
why the way we Sikkha Dhamma, we need to following the first two steps. Like when we are born as a child, as a baby, we need to follows what your father and mother teach you about the language that you can speak. So in Dhamma it's the same. You need to start from the alphabet first. The alphabet of Dhamma is Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa. Citta 21, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. This one, everybody in this class, I believe that most of them has already familiar with this one, but we need to mention it again today. But we go through it very quickly. That for Citta 121, we need to mention about Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, because in the big picture, whenever Cetasika interact with Citta interact with Cetasika, they create Rupa, and Rupa create everything in our lives, create this planet, this universe, create our body, create our food, create our environment, everything create from Rupa, and Rupa caused by interaction of Citta and Cetasika. That's why we need to know, to be able to recite Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. In more details, Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi will teach us about how Citta and Cetasika interact and create what type of Rupa, and how Rupa interact with each other, and how they create everything that we see today in even ourselves. So more.
So no any God in the world or in outside the world that create everything, but it is 31 Bhumi. Everyone in 31 Bhumi create environment and everything by ourselves.
Yes, there are none of things in this world and in 31 Bhumi that cannot be explained by Dhamma.
Yep.
So, and those explanation will start from be able to recite Chitta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, because everything that will explain based on these three main categories, based on Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa. That's why we need to emphasize that this one is crucial part of Sikkha Dhamma. And for Chitta 121 divided into groups, for example, like Kamavachara Chitta 54, Rupavachara Chitta 15, Arupavachara Chitta 12, and Lokuttara Chitta 40. For example, like this. And for Cetasika 52 divided into three groups, and Anyasamana Cetasika 13, Akusala Cetasika 14, and Sopana Cetasika 25. I color it blue because for Anyasmana Cetasika 13, because it's neutral, it can work with Akusala and also Kusala. Akusala Cetasika 14, as the name mentioned, that it works with Akusala Chitta only. And for Sopana Cetasika 25, I color it green because it works with Kusala Chitta mostly. Okay. And Rupa 28. Whenever Chitta interact with Cetasika, they create Rupa. And Rupa 28 divided into main groups. The first one is Mahabhuta Rupa 4, and the second one is Upataya Rupa 24. Altogether 28. That's roughly the story about Chitta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28, which seems as an alphabet in language. That's why you need to recite it. And now be able to identify the communication language and Dhamma language. This part also very crucial one. To identify communication and language and Dhamma language, you need to know that to transform from communication language into Dhamma language, you need to translate your language, whether it says English, German, India, Sri Lanka, Thai, Myanmar, Cambodia, etc., translate back into Makatha language. Because at that time when Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi was alive, Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi mentioned that to Sikkha Dhamma need to Sikkha Dhamma by Makatha language. That's why communication language, whatever communication language in this world, need to translate back into Makatha language first, because Makatha language will be the only doors that enter Dhamma language. And whenever you translate your communication language back to Makatha language, and then for Makatha language, the language will be redefined by the enlightenment of Gautama Buddha. And that when you look that with the Makatha language, Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi identify it's redefined it as what in Dhamma language. For example, like Lopa in Makatha language, defined by the enlightenment of Gautama Buddha, for example, like Lopa Mula Citta 8. The first one of Lopa Mula Citta 8 is Somanasa Sakatang Titi Kata Sampayutang Asankharikang Kama Vajra Akusala Lopa Mula Citta. This roughly example to translate from Makatha language into Dhamma language. And moreover, if I translate from communication language, like in English, it's greed, translate back into Makatha language as Lopa, and Lopa refer to the teaching of Gautama Buddha. Lopa refers to Lopa Mula Citta 8. That's how we translate from communication language into Dhamma language, roughly for easy example, for simple example. This is a simple one. And the next one, this is the way a bit difficult to understand. This is the way we think as we are, if we are Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirashano, we will think it this way. Because when we born as a baby, then we graduate according to our society education system. It depends. In general, we start from our communication language. When we was a baby and then we was a kid, then we learn the communication language of our society, our nation. For example, we are Thai, so we learn Thai language. and you are in India, you may learn Hindi language, and other people who stay in other nations, they learn their mother language. And then from that communication language, they use their communication language to graduate, to get education. For example, like you're getting biology, math, science, management, thing, etc. like that. And when we graduate, we are so proudly about our education, our knowledge. And we think that we know much more than Gautama Buddha. That's why we try to use our knowledge as based as ultimate truth, and we use our knowledge to translate Dhamma back to our knowledge. That is this diagram happen when we think that we know much more than Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi, and we believe that our technology and our education is superior than Dhamma. Then we translate Dhamma, translate Makatha language that used by Dhamma study back into your communication language. And then you use translated Dhamma to try to understand Dhamma, which is that's why you cannot go anywhere, because you think that your education is superior than the teaching of Gautama Buddha. That's why you translate it back to your communication language. However, it will be the chart and the diagram will be different if you have a different mindset. For example, for like this, you start from here the same. We born as a baby in our nation, we learn our communication language, whether it is Thai, English, Chinese, Japanese, etc., even Hindi, etc. And then we use our communication language to study and follows your education system, and we graduate. However, when we graduate, we are not thinking that our knowledge is superior than Dhamma. Then we leave our knowledge aside. We start from scratch. That we start from we set everything we know. We leave everything we know aside, and we start like a baby. We know nothing about it. Then we start to Sikkha Dhamma, or learn Dhamma language. That's why we mentioned at first, to learn Dhamma language, we need to be able to recite the alphabet first. If we comparing like learning language, that's why we leave our knowledge aside, and then we start to recite the alphabet of Dhamma language, which is Citta 121, Cetasika 52, and Rupa 28. Try not to get your knowledge involved or judge Dhamma. We insist that you leave your knowledge aside and start as a baby, and then recite it. Then when you recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, and then you Sikkha Dhamma, and those Dhamma teaching of Gautama Buddha will explain your communication language. And then as Dhamma as based, Dhamma also explain your biology, math, science, management, etc. And then when Dhamma language is your base, it will lead to Dhamma study or Sikkha Dhamma and leads to Nirvana. This is the different diagram from this one. This one is for Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano. They think it this way. They think that their knowledge is superior than Dhamma. That's why they translate Dhamma back to their communication language and try to understand Dhamma by using their knowledge. This is the diagram of the thinking, the way of Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano think. And to become Manusa Tevo, as I mentioned, that we need to start from scratch. Think that we are as same as a baby. We leave our educational knowledge aside, and then start as a baby, recite alphabet first, and then whatever Anuttara Samma Sambuddha said, we try to follow the teaching of Gautama Buddha and tries to understand of what Gautama Buddha teach based on Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, as we mentioned. This is the way that we can have progress in Sikkha Dhamma. Otherwise, you cannot have progress if you if you have a mindset like this one. Okay, this is
You mean that in our thinking we use our usual normal education in order to analyze everything, but in Dhamma you cannot done that. You have to go back to what Gautama Buddha teaching, and that we have to start from Lisai, Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa. That is mean that you start with alphabet, Dhamma alphabet first, and then after you knowing that Rupa, Citta, Cetasika, these three, it is Abhidhamma. So it is the course that will lead you to Nivarana, not same like in usual knowledge that you graduate and you only be doctor like that. Yeah.
Sadhu Happy Ping.
Sadhu Ka.
So the followings are the depth of Sikkha Dhamma and the difference in the way of seeing the world of Sikkha Dhamma and common people. Okay. This is, for example, like we mentioned in the beginning of the class, that thinking model, different. Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirashano, they are self-centered. They believe that their knowledge is superior than Dhamma. So this is what happened, as we mentioned. They cannot have progress in Dhamma study because they think they are superior than Anuttara Samma Sambuddha. Somehow they think it that way. So for Manusa Tevo, we think it differently. We don't think that our knowledge is superior than Anuttara Samma Sambuddha. That's why we leave our knowledge aside, not use it as things that we judge Dhamma language. That's why we leave it aside and start from scratch like a baby. Start from recite Citta, Cetasika, and Rupa, and following the Buddha's teaching. If we try to understand Buddha's teaching, and then we can have progress in Dhamma study or Sikkha Dhamma. This is the way of thinking model of the different from Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Tevo, Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirashano, or common people, and the one who Sikkha Dhamma or Manusa Tevo. This is the different of the thinking model or mindset. The second one is the language. Normal people or Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirashano, they use communication language. As we mentioned it, they use communication language when they was a baby, and then they are taught language of that nation. And for Manusa Tevo, wherever you are in this world, you need to translate your language back into Makatha language, and from Makatha language refers to the Buddha's teaching and then enters Dhamma language. It's the same model worldwide. So you need to translate from your language and then translate to Makatha language, and from Makatha language refer to the teaching of Gautama Buddha, and then you will start to enter Dhamma language. This is
Makatha language is Dhamma language.
As you Piping, that is a good question. Makatha language is Dhamma language, right?
Yeah.
As you see in this diagram, it's different.
Is not.
No, it's different, no. Right? Because Makatha language, the pronunciation is the same for Lopa in Makatha language and Lopa in Dhamma language. The pronunciation, the how you spell it might be the same. However, the meanings resides under these words. These same words, same pronunciation is different. That is how hard it is. For Makata language, translate back into English for easy understanding. For lopa means greed, right? However,
Yeah.
the same word, the same pronunciation, lopa. Lopa, when lopa is Dhamma language, refers to lopa mula citta, 8. Starts from the first one is somanasa asakatang titi kata sampayutang asankari kama vachara kusala lopamuchitang. Now you can see that the same pronunciation, the same voice that call lopa has completely different meanings under Makata language and under Dhamma language. So that's why we emphasize that it also, this one also very crucial part, that the same word, the same pronunciation that you are using, that meanings or that translation, that is communication language or Dhamma language. The one that you are familiar with, that would be communication language. Normally, for example, like Lopa, as we mentioned, for Thai people, we usually refer it as greed, or Tosa, we refer it as a hate, angry, something like that. Which those meaning that we refer is not Dhamma language at all. That is communication language. We translate it back from Makata language instead of refer to the teaching of Gautama Buddha to enter Dhamma language, but we translate back by dictionary and back to our communication language for Lopa and Tosa, right? For Lopa and Tosa, if we from Makata language and we want to enter Dhamma language, Lopa will refer to as Lopa Mulachita 8, and Tosa will refer to as Tosa Mulachita 2 as the beginning of Dhamma language. It will become like that.
You mean that Gautama Buddha borrow
The
communication language, which is Makata language at that era, at that moment, borrowed Makata language in order to teaching Dhamma into Dhamma language. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Sadhu Ping. So this is the language, the different type of language, the Sikkha Dhamma. And our daily activities, as we mentioned, our daily activities, mostly we have the same daily activities. You can do your daily activities within 24 hours. However, within a day, you can find your time within a day. For Manusa table, they try to find a time within a day to spend Sikkha Dhamma. And Sikkha Dhamma, as we mentioned, needs 2 steps. Very important one. The first one is recite Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa. For the beginners who cannot recite these 3 components, then you spend time within a day to recite it. And also the second part is to differentiate communication and language and Dhamma language. And this is the first 2 steps to Sikkha Dhamma. And the more Dhamma you have, the more time you will be able to spend time Sikkha Dhamma within a day. However, Anuttara Samma Sambuddhi also mentioned that you don't need to quit your Sanya 3. Kama Sanya, Kochara Sanya, Mara Sanya, you still be able to follow doing those 3 Sanya. However, it recommends that you add another Sanya within the day, which called Dhamma Sanya. That's all you need to do. And to do Dhamma Sanya or Sikkaya, you need to be able to recite Chitta, Cetasika, Rupa, and know the difference between communication language and Dhamma language as the beginning of Sikkha Dhamma. Okay, that the difference of daily activities of common people and one who Sikkha Dhamma. And following the knowledge, as we mentioned, normal people have their knowledge according to their education system. And for Manusa table, as we mentioned, they have Sikkha Dhamma, so they know more about what happened in this world by following the teaching of Gautama Buddha. The teaching of Gautama Buddha consisting of 84,000 Dhammakantaka, divided when Anuttara Sampoti was alive. It was divided into two groups. The first one is Vinaya, 21,000 Dhammakantaka, and Dhamma, 63,000 Dhammakantaka. And after Anuttara Sampoti entered Parinibbana, then Dhamma 63,000 Dhammakantaka divided into Suttanta 21,000 Dhammakantaka and Abhidhamma 42,000 Dhammakantaka.
Where is our Cetasika Rupa?
Okay, that's good question, Pipin. Our Citta Cetasika Rupa is here. Here, resides here. It's under Abhidhamma 42,000 Dhammakantaka. Under Abhidhamma 42,000 Dhammakantaka divided into two components. The first one is Paramattha Dhamma and the second group is Panyati Dhamma. Panyati Dhamma divided into Attha Panyati and Sattha Panyati. And Paramattha Dhamma Citta 121 Cetasika 52 Rupa 28 and Nibbana 1. And with these Paramattha Dhamma, they have two main characteristics. The first one is Samanya Lakkhana and the second one is Visesa Lakkhana. Samanya Lakkhana consisting of three components. The first one Anicca Lakkhana, Dukkha Lakkhana, and Anatta Lakkhana. These three components of Samanya Lakkhana. And for Visesa Lakkhana, they have four characteristics. The first is Lakkhana, Rasa, Pachupatthaya, Pathatthana. This is the characteristic of Paramattha Dhamma. They have to have more, have Samanya Lakkhana and Visesa Lakkhana. So each Citta, Cetasika, Rupa, and Nibbana have Samanya Lakkhana, Visesa Lakkhana. They might have all these three of Samanya Lakkhana, or not complete three. It depends on their characteristics, and also the same with the Visesa Lakkhana. This for very quick explanation about this, and we will go into details later on. So this is knowledge of common people, or Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirishanu, and the knowledge of Manusa table. This is the way different. And how to identify cause and effects, as we mentioned in our previous class. For Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirishanu, or common people, they find cause and effects according to what they are taught by the society, by their education system. So it's quite easy that they find cause and effects within the things that they are tangible, the tangible one. For example, like this one, when you're hungry, why you're hungry? You're hungry caused by your low energy, your empty stomach. Then the effects of that hungriness is you find something to eat or have a meal. Once you have a meal, when you decide to have a meal, it's caused by your hungriness. And then the effects of too much food cause you, the effects is fat. You're getting fat. And when you're getting fat, it's caused by too much food. And then your fat have the effects. Then you get sick. And then you get sick because you are fat. The effects of sick, without be able to cure, you will die. Your dead because you're sick, right? Things like this is cause and effects of normal people. However, when you Sikkha Dhamma, your cause and effects will be different. You can identify, you still have the cause and effects of normal people. You can understand that for normal people, we have cause and effects like this. But in details, in more advanced knowledge, which normal people don't possess, we know that the teaching of Gautama Buddha also mentioned that everything that the tangible one that we know, that our education teaches us that this one is cause and that one is the effects. Both cause and effects that we know until today, all of them are effects or phala. They are not cause at all. Real cause is based in Abhidhamma, as Pipin mentioned. And we only know this when we Sikkha Dhamma. And we can Sikkha Dhamma only when we be able to identify, recite Citta, Cetasika, Rupa, and be able to identify the difference of communication language and Dhamma language. That's why we need that. We need to mention that these two parts, two steps, is very crucial to Sikkha.
You mean that everything that we have studied in the world, in the communication language, in every science, it is all effects. It is
Correct.
not go to the cause, the real cause. The real
Yeah.
cause is in only Abhidhamma.
Yes, according to the teaching of Gautama Buddha, that everything in this world is ethics. However, this one is quite contradiction with knowledge we have today. For normal education from technology that we have from our logic in this world, teach by whoever except Gautama Buddha, they will say that what happened in this world is cause and effects. But
you mean that no knowledge and no theory in the world that can explain the cause?
yes, that is true. And when people believe that the teaching of Gautama Buddha might have flaws or might have things that prove Gautama Buddha wrong, whenever they think it that way, go back to the way of the mindset of Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachanu. Because when they think it that way, because they think that the knowledge is superior than the teaching of Gautama Buddha, that's why they think it that way. But as we mentioned, that to become Manusa Tevo, then we leave all of our knowledge and our education aside. We start as a kid, as a baby, we know nothing about it, and we follows the teaching of Gautama Buddha, and we try to understand the teaching of Gautama Buddha based on Citta, Cetasika, Rupa, and we need to identify the difference between communication language and Dhamma language. That is the first step. And then at that way of mindset is the way you can progress in Dhamma study or Sikkha Dhamma. Otherwise, if you believe that your self-centered and your knowledge is superior and your way of thinking, your cause and effects is superior than the teaching of Gautama Buddha, that is the way, the mindset of Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano, which I can say from the experience that it's quite hard to let go that kind of mindset of Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano, as we are already familiar with our knowledge. We spend time study, for example, like 12 years, 15 years. We are familiar with that kind of system. So it's hard to let go. But until now, I spent time Sikkha Dhamma for more over than 40 years. We believe, we said from our experience that you need to let them go. You need to change your mindset from Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano, which I was that three kind of Manusa before. And even now, I still be Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano. But as I sometimes try to become a Manusa Tevo within a day, right?
It seems like what we have studied from other dhammas for that very easy to understand and easy to you have to mind, you have to very cute to other, you have to like comfortable, and you have to not hate anything like that. It is not dhamma at all.
Yes, you could say
because
that.
it is outside. But
Yeah.
what you teaching is citta, cetasika, and rupa. That is all what it is Makatha language. So it is very difficult for us, for our usual life. It is far from us. That is real dhamma.
Yes, but as Piping, as we mentioned that we speak from our experience, and everyone who's Sikkha Dhamma need to follow these steps. You need to pass through this process, and it's according to our experience, we said it's hard, but it's doable. It's not the impossible one. It's possible, but need efforts. Right.
So you have to use about 10 years, 20 years, or 30
It
years,
depends.
or in your life, or in your life, use
And
the time
yes,
of the rest of your
correct.
life to
Correct.
Sikkaya. Start
But you
from
need
now.
to pass through these steps. We speak
Yeah.
from our experience. We pass through this one.
Okay.
And
Try.
occurrence of things, you can have science said whatever science said. This universe starts from quarks. That the size very small into universe, galaxies, things like that. It needs time. And then, moreover, apart from only the knowledge, the science, for Manusa table, we also know about the science, and beyond that, we know more over than that. What happened? What caused this knowledge of science? What science know? We know more than that because the teaching of Gautama Buddha. Science know only the how particle creates universe. The smallest particle that they found today is quarks, which somewhere here. But Gautama Buddha knows much more smaller than that. Go back into Vinipoka Rupa 8 that stays within Kamashrupa, Chittashrupa, Utushrupa, Harashrupa. And these Rupa, Samudhatthana, Kamashrupa, Chittashrupa, Utushrupa, Harashrupa create from Patisanti Pavankha Chutti Chitta 19. And Patisanti Pavankha Chutti Chitta 19. These send you to 31 Bhumi. And Patisanti Pavankha Chutti Chitta 19. Get the Rupa Samudhatthana information from Kamma Chitta. These are example of Kamma Chitta. Akusala Chitta 12, Upekha Hasitupata Chitta. Oh no, sorry. Akusala Chitta 12, Kamavacharamaha, Kusala Chitta 8, Rupavacharamaha, Kusala Chitta 5, Rupavacharamaha, Kusala Chitta 4, for example, like Kamma Chitta. Kamma Chitta total, we have 29 Kamma Chitta. Okay. We go through this quickly because the point we need to mention in this class that this is the way, the difference of understanding of occurrence of things. People who Sikkha Dhamma, we know beyond the limitation of science, know much more in details than that. And our five senses, normal people knows only your sight, smell, touch, taste, hearing. What are these? These are the interaction of your brain understanding by science. Only small part of it. You see that it's quite complicated one. But this one only by science. By the enlightenment of Gautama Buddha will be much more elaborate than this one. This, for example, so that's why it's very, very important that you spend time Sikkha Dhamma and spend time study in every details that Dhammacharya in other classes teach you, because the teaching of Gautama Buddha is much more complicated than this diagram. And this is only something on this. It's seem perplex, but Dhamma is much more complicated than that one. Okay. And for five senses, science know only this, but for the people who Sikkha Dhamma, we know much more than that. We know beyond the complication, the complex of science. No, we know much more in details than that because of the teaching of Gautama Buddha. That is Manusa Tevu, or the one who Sikkha Dhamma will know that. And the feelings, as we mentioned at the beginning of the class, as you are Manusa Niryo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirasha. No, normally we are these three Manusa within a day. So only when Sikkha Dhamma, then we have a chance to become Manusa Table. Otherwise, we also are Manusa Niryo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirasha, which normally we have a feelings that occur in our everyday lives as a happy, indifferent, sad, dissatisfied, angry, hate, envy, etc. And to become Manusa Tevo, we have happiness, happy ever after. And by having happy ever after, we need to Sikkha Dhamma and need to understand the teaching of Gautama Buddha, understand everything that happened, why it happened, the cause and effects that will be taught by Gautama Buddha, and by the process of Sikkha Dhamma, then we have a progress in Dhamma study or Sikkha Dhamma. Is also understand the working system of your eyes. For example, like your eyes. Science know about this. You don't know about your eyeballs, your visible spectrum. Science, Manusa Table also knows that and knows more about that because eyes for communication with language and Dhamma language. Eyes translate back to Makatha language as Jakku. For Jakku, translate into Dhamma language. It depends on the teaching of Gautama Buddha. And for this one, for Jakku for eyes, translate into Makatha language as Jakku. Jakku is one of Rupa in Rupa 28 in Pasat Rupa 5 is Jakku Pasat Rupa, Sota Pasat Rupa, Kana Pasat Rupa, Shuha Pasat Rupa, Kaya Pasat Rupa. Pasat Rupa exists in Jakku Pasat Rupa exists in one of Rupa 28 under Upataya Rupa 24 and under Pasat Rupa 5 group. This is the beginner of communication language and Dhamma language. And as we mentioned that the depth of Sikkha Dhamma, we know only this for the beginners. But for the one who's spending more time Sikkha Dhamma, then we know more about that. We know that our eyes we go deep into our eyes, into nerve system, blood system, muscle system, and then go deeper than that. We go to cell level, DNA level. Into DNA level, we go to chemical compound level, into elements, into atoms, molecule, and into quarks, which is the smallest known particle by science today. And then we go deeper than that. Your eyes will be very small and it creates from Rupa Samutthana, which consisting of Kamashrupa 18, Chittashrupa 15, Utushrupa 13, Aharushrupa 12, for example, like this one. And then we're not stopping here, we're going a bit further than that. It caused by Avinipoka Rupa 8 plus Shivita Rupa 1. And then this kind of Rupa start from interact with Panchatvara Vajana and Manotvara Vajana and send information back into Shavana Chitta. Things like this will be known by Sikkha Dhamma. So for the beginners, you might know only translate from eyes from English language, which is communication language, back into Makatha language, which is Jakku. And then as we mentioned, that you need to recite Chitta, Cetasika, and Rupa. And then you'll find the name of Jakku under Upataya Rupa 24, under Pasata Rupa 5 group, which is called Jakku Pasata Rupa. And this for the beginners who translate from a communication language into Dhamma language. However, the more you spend time Sikkha Dhamma, you know more details about the word of Jakku, like this diagram, for example. And moreover, within Rupa Samutthana, we have just mentioned here, you will know that Rupa Samutthana consisting of two main groups. The first one you call it, the first one you call it Kamashrupa. Whenever Kamashrupa 18 exists, they must have Kamashrupa 10 exist. Altogether Rupa 28, they always say altogether they must have Rupa 28. So only 18 out of 28 are Kamashrupa, then the rest 10 are Kamashrupa. This is more details that you know this only when you Sikkha Dhamma. And then Akamashrupa are here, and Kamashrupa 18, and Akamashrupa 10 appears in Chitta Shrupa 15, Uttashrupa 13, Parashrupa 12. You know this by Sikkha Dhamma, and the following is the Buddha's teaching. And then the more you know, Anuttara Sammasaripati also mentioned that with these 4 groups of rupa, samutthana, kamashrupa, creating from the past and not causing kusala or akusala. And chitta shrupa, uttushrupa, ahala shrupa, this one create from the past, but for present use, and they can cause kusala or akusala one. You will know this by the teaching of Gautama Buddha, and you cannot think it by yourself. And for Chakku, as at the first we said that Chakku exists in Pasatarupa 5, which called Chakku Pasatarupa. And Chakku Pasatarupa exists in Kamashrupa 18 and under genuine Kamashrupa. This one, you will know these details only if you Sikkha Dhamma, otherwise you don't know. You know only Chakku. Translate back into communication language, for example, like English one, you know, it's only eyes. That's all. That is the Kampira or the depth of Dhamma when you Sikkha Dhamma. So in this class, we mentioned the depth of Sikkha Dhamma and the difference of the way of seeing the world of the Sikkha Dhamma and common people, or the difference of Manusa Tevo from Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano. That would be quite easy, quite hard to follow. But
No,
we
no,
speak
no,
about it
any,
here.
no, any knowledge that known, like Dhamma, because Dhamma is more deeper.
Yes. And we need to spend time and looking into details in every details of what Gautama Buddha is teaching. And you can Sikkha from other Dhammacharya. There are lots of details that those Dhammacharya they try to mention those details to you, and those details are very important to start a journey from yourself back into the teaching of Gautama Buddha. However, we in this class, as we said, we tried to show the difference of the way of seeing the world of the Manusa Tevo, from Manusa Nirayo, Manusa Peto, Manusa Tirachano. We have a different mindset. So whenever you Sikkha Dhamma with others
ฮัลโหล
Dhammacharya,
วันนี้ไม่กลับบ้านน่ะลูก
that's why
นี่
you
อยู่
need
ไหน ไม่กลับบ้านเหรอ
to leave your knowledge aside
ไปไหน
and
กัน
start as a baby when you Sikkha Dhamma.
ไม่ได้ไปก็นอนบ้านพี่เนยไงพรุ่งนี้ก็เข้าทำงาน
เสียง
โอ
ใคร
เค
เข้ามา
แค่
คะ
นี้แหละ
That's okay.
ครับเรียนครับ
And
Okay. You means that we have at the first time that we Sikkaya, we have to recite first, and after we recite, we slowly understand by Sikkaya Dhamma.
yes,
Okay.
yes, it's quite hard, but everyone need to go through these steps. It's not.
But Dhamma is not recite, no. Everyone have to know that Dhamma is not only recite, because we still recite Makatha language only. But Dhamma is inside our Charana Citta. We have to use time.
Yes, Sadhu Kapiping, that's correct. But as we mentioned, we go through these steps. So that's why we need to mention that Sikkha Dhamma, we need to go gradually, step by step, little by little. You cannot jump into very details, very depth of the Dhamma within a short period of time. You need to go little by little, a bit by bit, because what you understand today will not be the
Someone think that you can remember all that Dhammacarya have teaching. You have have many knowledge in can recite or the language of Magadha language. But if you still have greedy, still have angry all the time, that is Dhamma is not going into your Chawana Citta. So please, Sikkha, we don't teaching by studying, but we teaching by Sikkha, follow the Dhamma of Gautama Buddha.
Yes. Sadhu, that's good advice. And in the future, in later on, when you continuously Sikkha Dhamma, you see Dhamma in details, and you will understand what Piping has just mentioned. It needs time to go through those steps, and sometimes in future classes, we might teach you that to Sikkha Dhamma, the way you Sikkha Dhamma cannot pass through your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, or your skin, which is quite contradiction with science today. You need to read by your eyes, hear by your ears, smell by your nose, taste by your tongue, and receive a touch by your skin. But to Sikkha Dhamma doesn't pass through those 5 senses, which is very hard to understand. But in the future, we might, when we have a chance, we will explain more about this in details. Or however, today we are just showing some of the difference of the way of people who Sikkha Dhamma and common people, the way they see the world in different perspective.
A little proof that you will know that your Dhamma is go deep inside your Chawana Citta or not is you can change your habit and change your inside your mind, that like you are more happy in your life.
Yes.
more change your inside, not only outside for other people to know, but change inside. You will happy, you will feel happy and happier every day.
Yes, that is good question. That's good point, Piping. You can see your progress of the Dhamma study or Sikkha Dhamma by comparing with yourself, not comparing with others, not others people. You're comparing only with yourself. You can see yourself before Sikkha Dhamma, yourself after Sikkha Dhamma. The more you Sikkha Dhamma, the more progress you'll have. And comparing with yourself only. Don't benchmark yourself with others, because as we mentioned in classes before, that Sikkha Dhamma is not a lifetime project. It's lifetimes, a lot of lifetimes, almost infinite lifetime. So this is just a blink of the eyes. With this life is only blink of the eyes, but very special one. I mentioned that this one is special one because this is your life that you meet the Dhamma of Gautama Buddha, which is Paramattha Dhamma. It's your chance that you can improve from human into Teva, into Brahma, into
Arupapama,
Arupapama, and also Ariya Bukkhala. It depends on you now.
Okay.
So that was the end of this class.
Yes. Did anyone have any question? Okay, wake up.
Okay, that will be end of this class. สาธุครับ
สาธุค่ะ
Sadhu, 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 navati pandi bandhana madame, sadhu
Satu
ka.
ka, everyone. See you in the next